Welcome to the Louie Herron Podcast, where I'm going deep into business, sales, leadership, and life. And I mean life, from the boardroom to the bedroom, from business acquisitions to personal addictions, from being saved yet still feeling like a slave, from manning up to mousing out, dealing with divinity to reality. This podcast is dedicated to growth, learning, inspiration, and healing. Jump in, hang on, and hang out. You'll never know which topic I'll tackle next. But one thing's for certain, I'm here to share my experiences, strengths, failures, and hope, all to help us live life at the highest level we can. What's up, guys? What's up? Welcome in to the Louie Herron Podcast. Boy, I tell you, I was up extremely early this morning, like 4-ish a.m. You ever have that where you just kind of get up and you don't know why you just got up, but you have a lot on your mind and things are running through your head and you're trying to figure this thing called life out? Well, that was me this morning. But as I was up, I thought to myself, I need to put together a podcast. And so my thoughts were kind of running around with some of my own personal life experience. And it dawned on me that the subject matter that I was thinking about today was, what does it take to be happier in life? And I'm not saying happy. I know a lot of times, if you guys are like me, I've said to myself so many times, when I do this, I'll be happy. Or when I get this, I'll be happy, right? This feeling of when I do or when I get or when I'll have. And I think sometimes that's a huge, huge trap. I mean, I believe the focus should be becoming happier, not happy. And the reason why I say that is because happier is a state of evolving, right? It's a state of growth. Becoming happier. Being happy is an endpoint. And a lot of times when we have an endpoint of being happy, it leaves frustration and in some cases pain. So I want to get into that today and really just kind of cover really what makes an individual happy, or conversely, if you're not feeling happy, I'm going to give you the formula and the solution of how you can increase your happiness. The first thing that I think we need to realize is the point of happiness really comes from our blueprint, right? It's our expectations. So what in your life is your current blueprint? What is your life's current blueprint? I mean, what is the story in your head about how your life is supposed to be? Whatever that story is, whether it's your body being balanced in business, whether it's your finances, whether it's your relationship, this story, this blueprint is completely driving subconsciously your happiness or your lack thereof. So you have to identify and ask yourself the question, what is your current blueprint? What is that story? Most people feel that in order for them to be enough or have a sense of value is they have to achieve something massive, right? In the culture we live, in the world we live, if you don't build something great, then for some reason you have no value. But how crazy does that sound? That would be like saying a teacher is not unique or has no value. Now, we all can have our own belief system about school and education and get into politics and all that stuff, but set all that aside for a moment. For someone to say that a teacher has no value or is not unique, it would be foolish in my mind, right? But again, the culture says you got to do something great to have value. Take a stay-at-home mother as an example. They don't have any special value. Are you crazy? Like, think about that. Like, look, I was married, and my wife at the time was a stay-at-home mother, and like legitimately the hardest job you can actually do. I wouldn't trade that. I wouldn't swap that for anything. Tons of value, right? So, but again, as we're talking about how someone can be happier, there's a certain area in your life currently that I want you to just challenge yourself. What is the area currently in your life that you feel like you actually are happier with? Because I think, if you really analyze your body being balanced in business, there's got to be something in your life going well right now, right? Maybe in your health, in fitness, maybe your finances aren't where they need to be, or your relationship's not where it needs to be. But from a health perspective, you're eating right, you're staying disciplined, you're in the gym, or maybe, your body's not doing that great, but your relationship with God is on point. Like, if all else fails,
you have a strong relationship with God and you're growing your spirituality, right? So my point is in our four areas of body, being, balance, and business, no, I know that the quest and the goal is to evolve and expand and have expansion for clarity and confidence so we can achieve and be all that we can be, the best version of ourselves, right? The version of ourselves that we've yet to be even discovered is still available to us. So I think it's very important that you have an area in your life that you can be happy about currently. But then when you identify that, I want you to ask yourself the question, why are you happy in that area of your life? Right? The formula for happiness is when your life conditions match or equal to your blueprint. The blueprint is how you think life should be. Let me repeat that. The formula for happiness is your life's conditions either match or they're equal to your blueprint. So when things are going well or you have an experience of happiness, it's because in that particular area of your life, whatever you're doing is matching or it's equal to what you imagined in your mind or the story that you've told yourself about what that needs to be. What is that blueprint? Your blueprint is simply your rules, your expectations, and the stories. I think it's so important because, if you're looking at becoming happier, right? Again, that's an evolving state. We're not looking for happiness. We're looking for happier. How can I be happier today? How can I do things today that make me feel better? This is the quest. This is the task at hand. And I think, if you look at conversely, what is an area of your life that you're experiencing unhappiness or an area that you're not happy with? And then when you discover what that may be, whether it's your body, being, balance, or business, ask yourself the question, why are you not happy with that? Again, what I want to focus on is closing the gap between where we are and where we want to be. So we've got the formula for happiness, right? It's life conditions that match or equal to your current story or current blueprint. But let's look at like the formula for unhappiness. Guys, it's not chemistry. It's not calculus. The formula for unhappiness is when your life's conditions do not match your blueprint or story. So what does that cause? Disappointment, pain, frustration, resentment, anger. All of these emotions are low frequency, low vibration frequencies, again, that we've got to master and get a hold of. So again, the goal is to close the gap. So this is the question that I ask myself a lot of times, and maybe you have the same kind of answers. So for me, like if I don't have my finances where they need to be, it causes frustration. When I don't have my relationships where it needs to be, it causes some frustration. When I'm not connected to God spiritually at the level that I need to be, it causes some frustration. It causes some disappointment. But the operative word is need. Need. When I tell myself I need to have this to be this, I need to have that to be that, that need is the issue. And so what I ask myself, and I challenge you to do the same thing, if you say some of the same types of things to yourself, is where is that quote unquote need coming from? Go back to what I always say of reflection and introspection. I think it's important to journal. I think it's important to write. I think every time a scenario or situation comes up, I think we need to reflect on that. You've heard me say it a million times. When a man doesn't reflect, he often projects. So this need to feel, this need to create a certain blueprint, a certain expectation is the key and the crux of what's creating your state of happiness or becoming happier on a daily basis. So am I saying to you to lower your standards or lower your goals? Of course not. I mean, no, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is we've got to be cognizant and aware that the point of unhappiness or the point of becoming happier, the evolving state of becoming happier, not a destination of being happy, is predicated on making sure that we're constantly understanding what the blueprint is. But we also have to understand that in our goals, in the standards that we set, in the blueprint and stories that we have, you have to give yourself some patience and understand that you are sowing, you are planting, you are working towards expansion and growth that you're looking for. Now, at the same time, I think it's important to note that there are really two things in life that make all of us feel alive. I mean, it makes us just come to a point of like, man, you feel life at its highest. And those two things are, write this down, growing and giving. When we find ourselves in a state of growing, expanding, self-improvement, self-love, accomplishment, we feel alive. We feel alive. And consequently, we feel happier. At the same time, when we're giving, it's a form of selflessness, giving of our time to somebody else, giving of our resources, a sense of contribution, or even a sense of impacting others. We're in a state of being happier, right? So when we're growing and giving, those are the two conditions where I think we can impact the state of happiness that we all strive for. We all of us, listen, all of us want to be happier on a daily basis. Nobody wants to walk around mealy-mouthed, negative, not positive, not having successes in our life. We all want to experience that, and that's a normal human need and behavior. So I think, it's important just to make sure isolating when your life conditions match your blueprint. This is when you feel happy. When your life conditions don't match, this is when you feel a state of unhappiness. And again, the goal is to be happier, work towards the blueprint, or even possibly change the blueprint. Let me give you an example. So you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, and you have problems. Most of the problems that we encounter in the relationships is simply because one of the two parties' life's conditions do not match their blueprint. Either you or her, something is not matching the blueprint. And so that's going to create a sense of problems when somebody has an expectation. The thing I want you to note and understand, especially as it relates to relationships, you may address certain things in the relationship and you may be becoming better at whatever the request may have been. I don't know, maybe there's a dilemma or an issue that is coming up in a relationship that's been expressed to you that you're working on and you're working through, and you're doing a better job. You're doing a better job than you used to in that one said area. But remember, if the other person is the life conditions that they feel or see or expect, or the story that they have in their mind is not matching, it doesn't matter how much work you do. It's not matching. The other person is still going to have some concerns or issues internally. So if we don't get a grip on this concept, it can lead to depression, or even worse, what I would refer to as the old dark night of the soul, where some people feel life is not even worth living. And all of this is because life's conditions are just not matching the blueprint. I mean, it's a serious matter. Not only doing our best to create happiness and becoming happier, it can really lead to some dark roads for a lot of people. So we have these stories. These stories also create our identity, right? So I can remember when I was playing college football and I had this dream to play in the NFL, and I eat, sleep, drink football. That's all I could think about. I went to college not to get an education. I went to college to play football, period. And when I knew and realized that dream or that story or that expectation of playing at a higher level was nowhere near even going to happen, it was a sense of identity that was crushed. I remember even when I was a dealer, another example, when we're talking about identity, and when you have your name on the building, and you're an owner operator of a dealership, and then all of a sudden life starts to crumble on you, and went through a divorce, and then all of a sudden 3-4 years later I sell the dealership, and now all of a sudden the identity. I'm no longer the husband. I'm no longer that particular dealer principal or business owner. Again, my story and my expectation and my blueprint was shattered of what I thought it was going to become, or what it was for me at that particular time. So again, I think it's so important that, number one, you celebrate your wins. Whether they're big or small, celebrate the wins, because every single time you have a chance to celebrate what's going great in your life or what's going well in your life, we all have, so many circumstances where things are not so well. So you've got to celebrate those, right? So I think the answer of becoming happier is we need to actually just take a look and start changing some of that blueprint. And you got to convince yourself that you're not helpless to change your life's conditions. I don't care what scenario you're in right now. You are not helpless. You are not. You may feel helpless. You may feel like you want to quit. You may feel like you want to stop. You may feel you have a case of the feels, right? But you're not helpless. You can change and create different life conditions. The reality is you're left with three choices when you're in this state, right? You can blame someone, something, or yourself, right? And that's the worst thing you can possibly do, right? When your life's conditions aren't working the way you want, the first thing we want to do is blame somebody else, or we want to blame a circumstance, or you get yourself in the pit where you blame yourself. But that's like saying you have no control, like something's out of your control. And I will say there are some conditions that are beyond your control, right? But how you react to that is completely under your control. When you blame something, someone, or even yourself, you're creating pain, again, resentment, and this is what actually really destroys your soul. The other two things you can do is you can change your perception or how you see what is actually going on. And the third thing you can do is you can change the blueprint. The last two things of changing your perception and changing your blueprint both require action. They are both active requests internally to get things back on track, to get yourself in a state of becoming happier. Again, this is an evolving and ebb and flow, right? There's harmony and disharmony in life. There's polarity, right? There's up, there's down, there's left, there's right, there's on, there's off. There's always a polarity to everything we look at. But if you want to shrink your problems, you got to grow your purpose. Let me say that again. If you want to shrink your problems, you got to grow your purpose. The key to being happier is change, confidence, and clarity. When you get clear of your blueprint, this is what's going to drive your happiness or your lack thereof. And again, the goal is for us to continue to work and strive towards expansion. Guys, look, I hope this is something that you can think about, digest this, consume this, and understand that you are in control. You have free will to make change and choice. And more importantly, you are the one that creates the blueprint. You are the one that creates the story. So when you say, I need to, I got to, I should, I need, I got, I should, I need, I got, you are creating that story. Slow it down a minute. Again, take time to reflect, modify the blueprint, and create the happiness that's available to you so you can have the state and the frequency you need to be able to perform and show up like you need to on a daily basis as a husband, as a father, and most importantly, for yourself. So guys, look, I appreciate you listening. If you've heard me for the first time, again, this is Louie Herron. Do me a favor. Most of you subscribe. If you haven't, please do. Please share this with somebody. Somebody out there is trying to get some happiness. Somebody's trying to rebound and build back up. We're all human beings fighting the same fight of life. And look, the bottom line is life is not easy, but it can be easier if we change who we are and who we're becoming on a daily basis to be that version of ourselves that we know we can be. Also, if you want to go to louieherron.com and want more information on how to grow yourself, how to grow your business, and even more importantly, your life circumstances, man, there's tons of content information on louieherron.com. You can also go to Louie Herron TV on YouTube. Check it out. Look, I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing day. Again, if no one's told you, I promise you, you are amazing. You've got what it takes. Being a man's not easy. Being a man ain't easy, bro. You gotta suit up. You gotta boot up. You gotta make things happen. But in the end of the day, if you're focused on your body, your being, your balance, and your business, and you're focused on those four core areas of growing yourself, I promise you, you will get yourself where you need to be and become in a state of being happier. Forget happy. Happy's a destination, and happy comes and goes. But let's focus on being happier. Guys, until next week, I'll see you on the Louie Herron Podcast.